Hello! Today we're going to discuss about Lesson 5 on locating points on a number line. So our lesson objective is to find points that partition directed line segment on a number line given a fractional distance or a ratio. So first is, let's try to locate a point at a fractional distance on a number line. If the problem says find the coordinate of a point that is a over b of the distance from point C to point D, this is the first step that we have to do. First is to identify where the initial point is, the initial endpoint, which is C, because it says C, from point C to point D. So this is very important to identify where the initial point is. If this is the initial point, then point D will be your x2. So from point C to point D, so we are going from, this is your initial point, initial endpoint, and your terminal endpoint. So find the difference of the coordinates here. So x2 minus x1, that will be the difference. Let's go for the second step. For the second step, whatever is the difference, just multiply by the given fraction. So the fractional distance will be given by a over b times x2 minus x1. And then the last step is to just simply add the fractional distance to the coordinate of the initial point, which is x1. So the coordinate of b, which is somewhere in between point C and point D, is given by x sub 1 plus a over b times x sub 2 minus x sub 1. This is the formula that we are going to use to locate a point at a fractional distance. So let's have an example. Let's take a look at finding B, or find B on line segment AC that is 1/4 of a distance from A to C. So from A to C, we'll try to find out where is B here. Remember the fractional distance is 1/4. So using the formula and then the labels, so our x1 is -5, which is our initial endpoint. Our terminal endpoint is 7, which is our x2, and the fraction, the fractional distance will be 1/4. So plugging in these numbers, so we have x1, which is -5, plus 1/4 for our fraction, and then the difference, your x2 is 7 minus your x1, which is -5. So we try to simplify this. We have 7 minus -5 will give us 12. Multiply it by our fraction. 1/4 times 12 will give us 3. And now you add -5, which is the initial endpoint, to 3, that will give us 2. So that will be where the location of point B is. This is where point B is located, at -2. Let's go for the next one. So this time, you will need to use a ratio. And then when you are given the ratio, we will need the section formula on a number line. So if C has a coordinate of A1 labeled as A1 and D has a coordinate labeled as x2, then point B, which is somewhere in between these 2 points, that partitions the line segment in a ratio of m:n. M:n will represent the ratio, is located at a coordinate. This is the formula that we're going to use. It is going to be the product of n times x sub 1 plus the product of m times x sub 2 divided by m plus n. So let's try to use an example this time. So this is the formula that we use for finding out that point on a number line using the section formula. So let's try to find point B on line segment AC such that the ratio of AB to AB to BC is 3/4. So AB somewhere here is B. So AB to BC is 3/4. 3:4, I mean. So 3:4 will represent your M is to N. Your A will represent your X1. Your C will represent your X2. So applying this, we will use the formula. 4 will be our N times your X1 plus 3 as your M times your X2. Divide this by M plus 4, which is 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4. That will represent your M and N. This will give us negative 4 times negative 5 will give us negative 20. 3 times 7 will give us 21. Simplifying this, we have negative 20 plus 21 will give us 1, which is the numerator here. And then 3 plus 4 will give us 7. So therefore, the location of B is at 1/7 on the number line, which is somewhere closer to 0. Okay, let's try to summarize everything. So this is what we need if you are given a fraction. When you try to locate a point at a fractional distance on a number line, make sure you identify your initial endpoint and your terminal endpoint and make use of the fraction which will be given to you. The second formula that you're going to use is if you are given the ratio, then we use the section formula. So we will have the initial endpoint again, then we have the terminal endpoint, and somewhere in between will be the ratio. It will give you the N sub 1, N times X sub 1 plus your M times X sub 2 all over or divided by M plus N will get you the point that is the point that is missing. So I hope this one will help you work on the problems related to the section formula and the one that is related to the fractional distance. Alright, now if there are some questions, do not hesitate to ask me. Thank you.